Hey everyone, my name is Wedge, and with the Amonkhet pre-release behind us, that means we're only a few days away from Amonkhet release. This means that local game stores all around the world are going to be drafting like crazy. To prepare you for this, we're going to go over all the very best commons and uncommons in each color so you can know what to take when your rare is this, or, this, or, this little guy. Yeah, not pretty. So without further ado, let's talk Amonkhet Draft. I do hope you enjoy the video, and if you do, remember to hit that like button, helps out a lot. We'll begin with white uncommons as we always do. Now remember, just because I don't mention a card in this video doesn't mean it isn't good, it just means I probably won't want to first pick it in a draft. The best white uncommon for limited is by far Cast Out, and I don't think it's very close. Cast Out does everything you want it to. Not only does it wreck any non-land permanent, but it does it at instant speed thanks to Flash, and you can cycle it in the very rare instance you don't need it. Removal, and it's flexible, no downside here. You're going to first pick this a lot. The second best white uncommon is a tough one, but I'm pretty confident that it's a Ketra's Attendant, mainly because of Embalm. 5 mana for a 3/3 flyer with cycling is alright, but that Embalm ability puts it way over the top. Getting another 3/3 flyer for the same cost as the original, way too good to pass up, and you can use it from the yard after you cycle it if you have to do that. Ketra's Attendant is everything you want, it forces an answer from your opponent, and then it does it all again when it comes back, a true nightmare. White commons couldn't be easier. Fanbearer and Compulsory Rest are both absurd and way above the rest of the white commons in power level. They're both tempo ruining, both pseudo removal, and while sure the enchanted creature's controller can sacrifice it, that's still a 1-for-1 on something you hate. Both of these are amazing white commons, definitely the ones you hope to see early in your packs. Okay, blue brought its A game in the uncommon department in Amonkhet, and while there are a plethora of amazing blue uncommons, I still think Angler Drake is the best of the best. You know me, you know how highly I value these unsummon effects, and putting one on a 4/4 flyer, that's truly devastating, especially in a format where a 4/4 flyer can't be stopped by most anything in the set. Angler Drake is the best blue uncommon, I'm pretty confident about that. The next best blue uncommon is actually really difficult. Personally, from experience, I think it's a tie between Labyrinth Guardian and Lay Claim. I could go either way. Both are fantastic. The Guardian doesn't care if it's targeted because that's you trading with a spell and you get another Embalm trigger, so you're going to 2-for-1 them there. Lay Claim is control magic with a cycling backup plan, both phenomenal. Now for the record, I also think Trial of Knowledge, Gale Strike, and Censor are all great as well. Not as good as the first three I spoke about, but more than capable of being picked up early in packs. Censor specifically is quite good. You'd be surprised how many people don't hold up mana for this, and you get to cycle it late game, so it's all around great. Blue commons are terrible as far as I'm concerned. The average blue common is not where I want it to be, but Aven Initiate is basically stupid. We spoke about this card in the pre-release guide, and sure enough, it performed beyond expectation. Who knew that flyers with Embalm would be so good? Oh wait, we all knew. Now next to the Initiate, Cartouche of Knowledge is my absolute favorite blue common. All of the Cartouches have their uses, but Cartouche of Knowledge is always good. If you have a creature, that creature wants the Cartouche of Knowledge. This thing can carry games. Well worth a mid-pack pickup, or early if your pack is terrible. Do not underestimate this card. Flying, a boost to power and toughness, and a card to replace it, no downside. Much like blue, black uncommons are represented very well in this set. Above all else though, for me personally, Gravedigger sits atop the throne. Gravedigger has been a good limited card since the beginning of time itself, and nothing has changed here. While 4 mana for a 2/2 is just plain bad, getting a creature back to your hand along with it, that's something to write home about. Plus, if it's an Embalm creature, you now get to play it 3 times, goody. Look, Gravedigger is a tried and true, battle-tested limited all-star, don't deny years of history, first pickable for sure. The next best black uncommon is tough because there are so many good ones. I'm going to tentatively say that Stir the Sands is the next best black uncommon due to cycling. 3 zombies for 6 mana, amazing. No doubt about that, but having the cheaper cycle cost and still getting a zombie out of it, that's nice flexibility right there. Well worth inclusion, definitely a high pick. Now besides the 2 we've already spoken about, I also consider Bone Picker and Baleful Ammit to be more than capable early pick black uncommons. I know you probably expected Bone Picker to be ranked among the top 2, but that's just how much I value Stir the Sands and Gravedigger. All of these are great though. Black commons are less than desirable, not gonna lie, just straight up average, if that. There are only a few I really like, and of those, only one of them desires high praise, and that's Final Reward. Can't argue with instant speed, exiling, removal, obviously the best black common, not even close. Now my second favorite black common is Soul Stinger. It turns into a removal spell when it dies, potentially taking a couple creatures down with it. That's the only reason I even remotely like it. And Splendid Agony is also removal, I guess. A more no-nonsense version of Soul Stinger, to be honest, but it gets the job done. These are my favorite black commons, but honestly, Final Reward is the only one you want to take super early. And the cat's out of the bag. The best red uncommons are removal. Crazy, right? Totally didn't see that coming. We're looking at Deemworthy and Trial of Zeal. If your opponent's creature isn't indestructible, Deemworthy is probably going to kill it real good. And if you don't need such insane overkill, there's flexibility in cycling and 2 damage to boot. You don't get to hit the face, but who cares? Instant speed, great removal spell. Now, Trial of Zeal isn't instant speed, but it's 3 damage in a format where 3 damage is quite good. And with each cartouche you play, this becomes even more busted. Trial of Zeal is already good without any cartouches, but if you get any at all that you can play, the trial becomes totally unreal. As far as red commons are concerned, once again, we're dealing with removal. I'm sorry, but that's just how limited it is. Magma Spray and Electrify are both disturbingly efficient and just always good. You always want removal in any limited deck, especially in a format where creatures find a way to keep coming back. You need to keep the board clear whenever you can, and these are 2 common ways to do it. If you want a non-removal red common option, Minotaur Suresh is just great. I don't want to first pick it, but dang if it isn't powerful. My favorite non-removal red common for sure. Next up, green uncommons, and they didn't disappoint at all. Defiant Greatmaw and Shefet Monitor are both solid, not the best, but solid. Same with Crocodile of the Crossing, Synchronized Strike, Watchful Naga, all pretty solid. But I'm confident that the single best green uncommon is Exemplar of Strength. This stupid 2-mana human warrior is downright powerful, and getting it onto the battlefield early spells trouble for your opponent. Even if you have to sacrifice one of your own creatures in the process, who cares? You have a 2-mana 4/4, it's just unreal. And if you have to leave the counters on the Exemplar itself, you get a sweet trigger that lets you gain a life and make it more powerful turn by turn. Exemplar of Strength is just nuts. It's definitely the best green uncommon. It took a lot of feedback in playing with Scaled Behemoth to realize its true power, but yeah, I think this Crocodile is the second best green uncommon. 6 mana for a 6/7 is pretty dirty, but adding Hexproof to the mix makes this thing near impossible to remove in the current limited environment. Nothing is going to beat it on the ground, removal can't touch it. Besides a few corner case cards, once the Behemoth hits the battlefield, it's there to stay. Much better than I thought it would be, just plain strong, look out for this card. Green commons, not that great this time around, I won't lie to you, it's looked better, but there are some goodies in here. First and foremost, Cartouche of Strength. You bet your sweet patootie I'm gonna rank the green removal spell the best green common, obviously. Green is lacking more removal than ever in this set, and Cartouche of Strength is a beam of light in a sky of clouds. Gives a power toughness boost to a creature and trample, and it's a removal spell, you can't go wrong there. Besides the Cartouche, I guess Naga Vitalist is the best green common. I don't even want to mention it because you definitely don't want to first pick it, but there's really nothing else out there. Pretty steep drop off after the Vitalist. I think anyone would tell you the Cartouche and Vitalist are 1 and 2 in the color and rarity. Sorry, I wish there was better news, but unfortunately green commons just didn't come to fight this time around, except for, the Cartouche. Zing! Normally we would end the video here, but there's one more card I have to talk about. Edifice of Authority is beyond comprehension. I should have mentioned it in the pre-release guide, and I'm going to kick myself forever for missing it, but this artifact is one of the single best cards in the entire set for limited, not just uncommons, the entire set. Edifice of Authority is too oppressive for words to describe. Goes in any deck, slows down your death by countless turns, and once it stacks some bricks, there's no stopping it. An absolute bomb if I've ever seen one. Put this on the most wanted list. Dumb card, crazy good card. Do not pass this unless you absolutely have to. And that's going to do it for our Amonkhet draft guide. What do you think? Based on your pre-release experience, do these choices make sense? Which cards worked for you? Which cards didn't? Remember, we're all in this together, so whatever you found to be great, be sure to let us all know so we can prepare for release weekend. I expect your thoughts, gosh darn it. Also, be sure to stay tuned to the channel for a ton of Amonkhet coverage in the coming weeks, and as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. This video is brought to you in part by TCGplayer.com. I know I'm a broken record at this point, but let's be real. You still haven't pre-ordered your Amonkhet booster boxes yet, and the set releases in a few days. Days, people. Time flies when you're slinging spells. If you want to get your hands on the set ASAP, TCG Player has your back. Boxes for $91 each. Sent right to your door. Cheap prices, fair prices, especially if you don't have a local game store. Just click the link on the screen, helps the channel, win-win, enjoy.